Hey, what's up? We're in this phone now, so the sound quality is better. Thank you for writing it out with me on the iPhone. I appreciate you for that. But we're back on better sounding quality. However, there's still speech lags here, so whatever. Okay, cool. So this dream, after that, rebuke on a lower quality device. Well, it's higher quality, but with bad sound right now. Moving on, whatever. After that little brief rebuke, let me just tell you about the next part of the dream. This was a very colorful, kaleidoscopic, graphic dream. Had many details that I cannot miss or skip because they're important, all of them. Okay, so the next part of this dream, remember I was being ushered essentially, or travel guided by these boys. Now I need to explain who these boys represented once and for all. Just get to the point, because I've been explaining what the dream means all throughout the parts. They represent Christians. So the Bible says that the kingdom of heaven belongs to such as these. By these, God says children. He says that to the Pharisees. He says, unless you have got a righteousness that exceeds that of children, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. We have got to have a childlike faith. So the reason why those boys, those Christians were so young, why God represented them as like they were teenagers, barely having cracked past, a high school type establishment thing, was in order to show me that the kingdom of heaven belongs to kids. Later on in the dream, I would go on to see more of these children, and they got younger and younger. Like there was one kid in my dream later on, as I will explain, that looked like they were barely out of their diapers, like barely, could have been like 3 or 2.5, walking around warning people to get out. That would represent a Christian that is so pliable and palatable in terms of their malleability. Like, children are. If you hurt a child, like you scream at them, you yell at them, they will be sad. But as soon as you smile at them, they just get over it. They recover really quickly. They don't bear grudges. They are very quickly forgiving. That's why the kingdom of heaven belongs to people like them. They are easily trained. First of all, they are teachable. And secondly, when they get hurt, they forgive very quickly. And even if you don't say sorry to them, they are unlikely gonna bear a grudge when you come to them next time. Even if you don't say sorry, they will just get over the fact that what happened. That's why it takes so long to traumatize a child. Longer than it would for a grown person. The first time you yell at a kid, they'll probably come back tomorrow and talk to you like nothing ever happened. It would have to take like a very long amount of time of you just being kind of abusive for the kid to do that. That malleable and stretchy, elastic constitution is what is required of disciples. We've got to forgive 70 times 7 times. We have to turn the other cheek. We have to, when people talk to us, smile again. Talk to them again. We cannot bear grudges. We can't just hold, but we don't have that luxury, because if we don't forgive, we also are not forgiven. That's why I'm in danger for being like the church at Ephesus, forgetting my first love, because I'm so angry at witches. I'm ceasing to have that childlike way about me where, it's water under the bridge, whatever, man, let's get over it. I need to try and cultivate that again. I need to fast and pray for it. I cannot lose my lampstand, if you know what I mean. Can't have it snatched away from me. So that's why those disciples were also young. I had a crush on the one because he was speaking all this like mellifluous language of heaven, and I was attracted to that. That was God showing me how it is that the world has got this very bittersweet relationship with Christians. They love what we say, what we speak. Hey, Mara, they've got like I said, the kingdom of darkness is making war with us as the human race. And so they want to keep people out of the faith, meaning that even if a Christian hears the gospel, not a Christian, a person hears the gospel, they'll be excited at first. But the moment the devil dangles something, or the moment there is some counteracting voice in somebody that is a messenger of Satan, they will want to run with it and then take the gossip and run with it. Personally, I have had people that started out, like it happened when I was in corporate, with like colleagues in the business, but also with family members, where it is that initially they embraced me because they loved to hear all that I had to say about Jesus and my newfound faith and my newfound excitement. And then my family got to them. Everybody, if they were in the family, other family members got to them. They gossiped me, and then all of a sudden they started to change their minds against me. It happened with 2 of my cousins, one of which went and just slapped me with a whole bunch of witchcraft afterwards. In my organization, when I was newly saved, I was trying to get, evangelize some colleagues and really very excitedly speak about Jesus. And there was this one girl that I was winning, and she was becoming a friend, but she belonged to a group of friends, a clump, an entourage of other friends of mine in that space that were busy gossiping me, and after some time she started to act cold, aloof, and mean. She was gotten to. So that is the relationship with the world that we have as disciples. It's kind of as disciples with the world, it's unstable, because sometimes we talk to people, they get excited, we feel like tomorrow we can rock up and speak to them again in the same tone, and they've changed because Satan got to them through some other person. And that's the level of tossed to and from by every wind of doctrine, constitutional character that I had in my dream. I liked the Christian guy. I was attracted to his Christian talk. The language of heaven that was on his tongue when he was talking made me develop romantic feelings for him. But when I looked at him closely, when I started to look at him closely, he became a child to me. He was like a child. He morphed into like a teenager. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the reason why I saw him as a teenager is because of underestimation. Like, you would meet, I don't know how, guys, it's happened to me so much. Personally, as a female, my Christianity has been very drawing and enamoring and attractive to men. But as soon as they start to notice how persecuted I am and how disrespected by the world I am, they doubt me. They second guess their feelings for me, and they also imagine me somewhat like a child. Like, she's cool, but why does everybody not like her? Why is everybody persecuting her? She's so sweet, but what, Yeah, well, I'm disreputed wrongly. My name has been reviled. According to the Beatitudes, blessed are you, Beatitudes. Blessed are you when men revile you and call you all different kinds of things on account of the name of God. Great is your reward in heaven. They did the same thing to your forefathers, but because they don't understand the word of God and they don't understand Christian persecution, they also then join the bandwagon of people who downplay the girth of a believer. So a great girl starts to become a mediocre girl because everybody is reviling her. She's Sandra D, bursting with virginity, won't go to bed till she's lawfully wed. She's boring. It's happened so much. Like, I have fallen violently in love with a man that passed me up because I was just so badly persecuted. As a Christian, I was underestimated by the world around me, and because of my faith, I was looked at with, just quiet. People were persecuting me because I love Jesus. The world hates disciples. Basic stuff. Liked me, adored the language of heaven on my tongue, found it refreshing until I was persecuted for it, and he just joined the world and started to persecute me, saw me as substandard to be in his life and not in his league, incompetent to be a woman on whose finger he's gonna put a ring. So he passed me up entirely, like a violent love. He passed it up because I was a persecuted Christian. I lost my job. I lost everything. I lost my life. I thought he was in Christ, but he wasn't, clearly, because he walked away from a woman that he would have married if at all she didn't lose her job. Okay, cool. So that's the relationship that the world has with us as believers. Bittersweet. In and out, hot and cold. Not really sure what they're doing there. Adore Christ's words on a tongue because God is calling them. But just like in the parable of the sower, as soon as the devil rocks up and steals it, they fall away. As soon as persecution hits, they fall away. As soon as the cares of this world hit, they fall away. So they were among the people on whose bad soil the seed was planted, and so it did not take root and bear fruit manifold over. In my dream, I was one of those fluffy tossed to and from people where I met a Christian guy and I developed feelings for him because he was godly and I liked the speech on his tongue. But all of a sudden when I looked at him, he was like a child. Why? Probably because of underestimation and where I was at. The world around me was satanic. It was filled with sorcery. It was very materialistic, and this boy did not have anything. Indeed, a boy, a high school student, would not be that attractive to a 38-year-old woman. Why? Because how you gonna take care of me? You ain't got no job. How you gonna love me as a man? How you gonna carry me up the stairs? I'm too heavy for you. So he lost girth in my sight because of his Christianity. It's almost as if though what you have to offer this world is not interested in, so you are not man enough for me. I ended up feeling that way about this boy. This man, he initially was okay for me until I felt like he was a child. My story of my existence, bane of my existence, frankly, okay, that's been what's going on with me. But I'm pretty sure it's happened to many Christians, and it is at the peril of the unbeliever, because you ain't never gonna do better than a godly wife or a godly husband. And in and of yourself, you're never going to do better other than being godly yourself. Okay, cool. So that's why I underestimated him. That's why he suddenly became like a boy. And that's why all these people that were on foot, who had strange authority in this place. That's another thing. You know how nobody could just walk around dilly-dallying in this environment, in this atmosphere. They had to, first of all, be happy to abandon their consciences and everybody that had been embraced as a citizen in this evil, ring-fenced metropolis, they were gliding. But these boys and girls were just walking on their own feet, and nobody could tell them anything. Nobody could stop them. Nobody would be like, get out of my office. What are you doing, little high school student, doing in my office? They were disrespected. They were not well received. Nonetheless, no one could touch them. They were like MC Hammer. Ding, da, 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 can't touch this. Christians are like that on earth. We are covered supernaturally by a holy God who very poignantly covers our every step, and we miraculously make it into places that everybody else is locked out of. It is written in his word that he will put us before governors and kings, and the reason why he does this is that we might testify of his name when we get to the front there. Christians, lowly men and women, prophets of old have been known to stand before entire kings. Poverty-stricken prophets have stood before wealthy, opulent kings. That's just what happens with the servant of God. They are treasure in jars of clay. They get to set foot on golden streets that everybody cannot step on because they are only for the king. We walk red carpets or yellow carpets or pink carpets or purple carpets. We are ever in the presence of the godly. For instance, I will keep on making an example, aka this dude in the country who just recently died. There is this prophet that prophesied his death. Now, aka was a celebrity, and celebrities get DM'd all the time by weird and wonderful people all over the show trying to get the attention of this honcho okie. Rarely ever do celebrities respond to people who DM them. Cause what do you want with me, you rabid, itchy fan? Leave me alone, you're not in my league. People don't get their day in court when they try to holla very privately on social media to celebs, but celebs respond to prophets. They respond to prophets. There is something about the children of God that these people just cannot shake. Who is this? Connie Ferguson. When she was warned about her husband's soon impending demise, in his death, basically, by a prophet, she responded. He wrote on Twitter to her page, ne? How many celebrities, not celebrities, but lay fans write on Twitter pages or whatever might be the social media accounts of celebrities? A lot. And they just ignore them or delete if it all is super taboo or whatever. But Connie responded negatively, of course. She was rejectful of the prophecy. They all usually are. She spoke something along the lines of, "Hi man, whatever, you are rubbish." Something along the lines of, "You're boring me, stop it, and stop scaring us." Okay, why didn't she just delete? Why didn't she just ignore? Why didn't she ignore? She read it and responded. Apparently, allegedly, aka, not only responded to the prophet who prophesied his death, who DM'd him on Instagram, but he told the guy to send him his number that he might call him back. And they spoke on the phone for a season, following that conversation of which aka then came back and wrote that tweet that these prophets who claim to come from God, they're not from God, they're busy scaring us, prophesying death when they are unrequested and unrequited or whatever. Aka was warned by a prophet that his death is coming, he must repent from his whatnot and whatever so that God can restore him, recover him, redeem him, protect him from this impending, demise. And aka was so touched and moved and so scared, freaked out of his pants, that he contacted the dude who DM'd him, asked him to send him his number, and called him. He called him and they had a conversation. Celebrities don't usually do that with fans. That's what the Bible means when it is written that he will put us before governors and kings. People might struggle. Random lay fans on the street, they might struggle to get heard by presidents of countries. But when a servant has been sent by God, he will be tugged at, the person who is to be served by the servant, to respond, whether or not it is positively or negatively. How Jehoiakim burnt the scroll of Baruch and Jeremiah. He did not ignore it. He bent it. He responded with irritation. Micaiah was thrown into prison to eat meager portions of bread and water. However, Micaiah was summoned, but Jeremiah sent Baruch, though. When a prophet goes and gives a prophecy, oftentimes the people of the land will listen because God has made it such that their hearts will be open to listening, whether or not they act appropriately. AKA did not act appropriately, but he listened. He listened enough to ask for the guy's number. That's Christians. So that's the authority that these little children had in my dream. They could walk into an organization and show people around, and nobody in this company was able to tell them get out or stay. They were not necessarily respected, but they definitely were left to do what they were supposed to do. That is the believer. We give the gospel whether or not you like it. We show the world the truth of what's going on, whether or not the world likes it, but utterly and comprehensively extract us from the ecosystem. They can't do that. And that's why YouTube is really very naive to think they can continue to smother Christians with silencing. Next part.